What's up, guys? It's me, King Malik, back with another video. Today I'm gonna be reviewing this book for you guys, Good to Great by Jim Collins. The subtitle is Why Some Companies Make the Leap and Others Don't. This book is basically about how to go from good to great. I'm gonna be explaining to you guys why you want to know this information, and then I'm gonna actually be explaining to you what the book talks about, and you'll learn how to go from good to great in any organization that you're trying to start. This isn't just a business book, this is for any organization. If you guys like the video, please click that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow me on all my social media, and I hope to see you guys at our next book club meeting. With that being said, let's get on to the video. So why would you want to know this information? There's two main reasons. Reason number one is because being able to distinguish between a good company and a great company is a money-making skill. If you're into investing, what they did was they took a list of 15 companies that they considered to be great. They considered them to be great because they had like explosive growth over, I think it was a 10 to 15 year period. They just completely outperformed the market by like 3 to 18 times, some of these companies. And then they had like, a list of good companies that were in line with the market, and or maybe even they underperform the market. And again, if you into investing, if you're really trying to grow your money, you're gonna want to go with a company that's gonna be great down the line, because great means profit. Like I said, these great companies that they were researching outperform the market by some of them 3 times, some of them 18 times, and it ranges in between. Some of the companies that they were looking at were Walgreens, Gillette, they make razors, and a couple others. And they also looked at some comparison companies that were in the same industry, but just, again, they were right in line with the market, or they underperform the market. And again, if you're trying to grow your money, you're going to want to go with a company that's going to outperform the market. That's a great company. Reason number two why you will want to know this information is because you yourself might want to become great someday. This book will teach you how to take your organization from good to great. So it's good for you on a personal level. So how does one go from good to great? That's basically what the book talks about. Chapter number 1 is called Good is the Enemy of Great. And basically what they say is a lot of companies don't become great, or a lot of organizations don't become great simply because they're content with being good. If you are content with where you are, then you really don't leave yourself much room to grow. So good is the enemy of great. So don't settle for good, try to be great. And he says some really interesting things. He's like, the reason why we don't have great schools is because we have good schools. And, the reason we don't have great hospitals is because we have good hospitals. When people become content, it just doesn't leave a lot of room for improvement. So that's chapter 1, good is the enemy of great. Chapter 2 is called Level 5 Leadership. Basically, every great company that they were looking at have what they call a level 5 leader. And a level 5 leader is basically somebody who puts his own ego aside for the good of the company. If you want to build a great company, you got to be what they call a level 5 leader, and you got to put your ego to the side and really do what's best for the organization and stay humble. That's the bottom line. So all great companies have a level 5 leader, somebody who is, humble, willing to do what's best for the company rather than for themselves. Chapter 3 is called First Who, Then What. Basically, this chapter, they say, get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus, and get the right people in the right seats. If you do all those things, then you'll figure out where to go. You know what I'm saying? So basically, if you build an organization, just make sure you got the right people on the bus. I mean, it could be as simple as just being real with a person, like telling them straight up, like, hey, this is what we trying to do, and we serious about it. And I'm letting you know it's not gonna be easy. Are you down? If they down, then they down. If they not, then they not. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is, it all starts with who. First who, then what. get your who right, and then figure out what you gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus, and get the right people in the right seats, and you gonna be able to take it wherever you want to go. So chapter 4 is called Confront the Brutal Facts, Yet Never Lose Faith. So confronting the brutal facts is basically being in tune with reality. Like, don't try to run your organization based off of how you feel it should be or how you want it to go. You gotta really take into consideration like what the world wants, what the world needs, and just be in tune with reality. They talk about, like, it was this guy who was the former CEO passed away, and then he took over, and he would do things based on how he would think the old CEO who passed away would do things. But the world is constantly changing, you know what I'm saying? So you can't be stuck with old ideologies or nothing like that. You got to be able to confront the facts, no matter how brutal they are, and just, you know, confront the facts and just go and move accordingly. Something else they talk about in this chapter is basically creating an atmosphere where the truth can be heard, because this is important too. You're not going to be able to confront the facts if you don't create an atmosphere where the truth could be heard. They talk about something called the red flag rule, where a high school, or I think it was a college professor, he gave all his students a red flag, and he told them, you can use this red flag at any time to voice your opinion, and you're not going to get in trouble, and you could do it whenever, but you can only use it one time for the semester. So, you know, you create an atmosphere like that where the truth can be heard. And, you know, he would like have students tell him, like, you know, in the middle of class, like, hey, I can't hear you, it's hard, you know what I'm saying? And just creating that atmosphere where the truth could be heard, it gives you room to improve and grow, and that could be really beneficial to your organization. Let's put it that way. Chapter 5 is called the hedgehog concept, simplicity within the 3 circles. When they say this, the hedgehog concept, they're basically saying that they want you to move steadily along, like on the same path, and just be consistent in what you do. And they talk about like whatever you do should fall into the center of 3 circles. It should be what you are deeply passionate about, what drives your economic engine, which basically gets you paid, and what you can be best in the world at. You don't have to be the best at the world currently, but what could you be the best in the world at? So you want to take those 3 things into consideration, find out where they intersect, like where your work intersects within those 3 circles, and just continuously every day, like just continuously hammer down on that thing that you figure out on. It's called the hedgehog concept. Continuously hammer down on your hedgehog concept. So again, you want to take those 3 things into consideration. Figure out what you are deeply passionate about. Figure out what drives your economic engine, what's getting you paid, and figure out what you can be the best in the world at. And when you find the intersection of those 3 circles, that's your hedgehog concept. And once you know your hedgehog concept, you focus on it. You know, you do it every day, and you focus on it, and you be consistent with it. And by doing that, you will, you know, you'll avoid all the distractions and the fluff, and you'll get to where you're going eventually. Let's put it that way. Chapter 6 is called A Culture of Discipline. Basically, if you develop a culture of discipline, you don't have to discipline anybody. What you want to do is, this falls in line with first who, then what, getting the right people on the bus. When you get the right people on the bus, the right people who are like self-motivated, you create a culture of discipline. People should feel like, you know, they are like basically just get self-disciplined people like in your circle to create a culture of discipline. So you don't have to discipline anybody. Everybody should be self-motivated. It's the only way you're going to be able to make your organization great. Chapter 7 talks about technology accelerators, how to use technology to accelerate your growth. But keep in mind, technology, that's all it is an accelerator. Your organization should not be dependent on the technology. Technology should just be an asset to whatever it is that you're doing. And then chapter 8 is the flywheel and the doom loop. So basically, when you're doing all these things, if you're doing them correctly, you create the flywheel, and basically it's just gonna take off like a flywheel. If you're doing it wrong, then you're gonna fall into what they call the doom loop, and the doom loop is basically a downward spiral of negativity. So just try to, just try to start from the top, and develop level 5 leadership. Start with the first who, then what. Get the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus, and the right people in the right seats. Confront the brutal facts and create an atmosphere where the truth can be heard, and hammer down on your head child concept. And when you do all those things, you basically are going to develop the flywheel. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you skip any of those steps and you do it wrong, you're going to develop the doom loop, and it's just going to be a downward spiral from there on. So just, again, focus on the right things and you'll be able to be great. It's really not that hard. Anybody could do it. And then the last chapter, they're basically talking about, because they have another book called Built to Last, and they're basically talking about where the two studies overlap. And they basically they didn't take that first book into consideration at all when they made this book, which is really good, because then at the end they were able to see where the overlap was amongst the two books, and that's where all the great discoveries are made. But yeah, overall I really enjoyed this book. Probably gonna reread it in the future. I give it 5 stars. Jim Collins is a beast. I picked this book up because of Tai Lopez. Heard him say this is one of the best business books ever. I think it's one of the, it's like 5 million copies sold. Like, that's like literally probably the most I've seen on a book. Like, honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. Highly recommend you read this book. If you want to read along with me, click the link in the description, get your copy. Click the link in the description, sign up for my upcoming book club meeting. Like this video, comment below what I should read next. Share it with somebody who likes reading books, and I hope to see you guys in the next video or at our next book club meeting. Until next time, take care.